Cream cheese production, making small batch cream cheese from cow or goat milk. The soul of the smear, a masterclass in small batch cream cheese production. There is a quiet rhythmic satisfaction that comes from transforming a gallon of liquid milk into a heavy ivory-colored ball of fresh cream cheese. If you've ever stood in the dairy aisle of a grocery store staring at those silver-wrapped bricks and wondering why they all contain stabilizers like locust bean gum or carob bean gum, you aren't alone. We have become accustomed to industrial cream cheese, a product designed for shelf stability and high-speed mechanical spreading. But once you pull a batch of your own cheese out of a hanging muslin bag, you realize that the store-bought version is a mere shadow of the real thing. Small batch cream cheese production is the bridge between amateur cooking and true kitchen alchemy. Whether you are working with the rich, buttery output of Jersey cow or the bright floral notes of a backyard dairy goat, the process is an exercise in mindfulness. It is about understanding the delicate dance of temperature, bacteria, and time. In this comprehensive guide, we are going to explore every corner of the cream cheese world. We will look at the science of the curd, the equipment you actually need versus what people try to sell you, and the nuanced differences between cow and goat milk. By the end of this journey, you won't just be making cheese. You'll be crafting an artisanal experience that will make every bagel, cheesecake, and cracker in your house feel like a gourmet event. The philosophy of the small batch. Why small batch? In the world of commercial dairy, volume is king. To manage thousands of gallons of milk at once, factories use high heat and chemical shortcuts to ensure consistency. When you scale down to 1 or 2 gallons in your own kitchen, you gain something the factories can never have: nuance. Small batch production allows you to taste the seasons. If your cow has been grazing on fresh spring clover, your cream cheese will have a subtle sweetness and a pale yellow hue from the beta-carotene. If your goats have been munching on brush and blackberry brambles, the cheese will have a complex peppery finish. You are capturing a moment in time and a specific place. This is what the French call terroir, and it applies just as much to your kitchen counter as it does to a vineyard in Bordeaux. Cow milk versus goat milk, choosing your foundation. The first decision you have to make is your milk source. While the process for making cream cheese is largely the same for both, the results are remarkably different. The cow milk experience. Cow milk is the classic choice for a reason. It is high in milk solids and, depending on the breed, exceptionally high in butterfat. For cream cheese, butterfat is your best friend. The best breeds. If you have access to a local dairy, ask if they have Jersey or Guernsey cows. These breeds produce milk with a higher fat content than the standard Holstein, the black and white cows usually found in industrial dairy. More fat means a silkier, more decadent cheese. The flavor profile. Cow milk cream cheese is mellow. It provides a creamy, slightly sweet backdrop that carries other flavors beautifully. It is the gold standard for New York-style cheesecakes because its mildness allows the vanilla and sugar to shine. The texture, due to the structure of cow milk proteins, this cheese tends to be denser and more structural. It holds its shape well at room temperature. The goat milk revolution. If you want something with a bit more personality, goat milk is the way to go. Often referred to as chèvre style, though true chèvre is a broader category. Goat cream cheese is a favorite among artisanal chefs. The natural homogenization. Unlike cow milk, where the cream naturally separates and rises to the top, goat milk is naturally homogenized. The fat globules are smaller and more evenly distributed. This results in a cheese that feels lighter on the tongue, almost whipped, even without extra aeration. The tang factor. Goat milk contains higher levels of certain fatty acids, caproic, caprylic, and capric acids, which give it that famous goaty tang. When fermented into cream cheese, this tanginess becomes bright and citrus-like. Digestibility. For those who find cow dairy a bit heavy on the stomach, goat milk is often a lifesaver. It contains mostly A2 casein, which many people find much easier to digest than the A1 casein found in most commercial cow milk. The secret ingredient. high-quality milk. Before we touch a single pot, we have to talk about pasteurization. You will see a lot of milk in the grocery store labeled ultra-pasteurized or UHT. Stop right there. Ultra-pasteurized milk has been heated to such a high temperature, around 280 degrees Fahrenheit, that the proteins are denatured. They are essentially shattered on a molecular level. While this milk stays fresh on a shelf for months, it will not form a firm curd. If you try to make cream cheese with UHT milk, you will end up with a gritty, soupy mess that never sets. Instead, look for raw milk. If legal and available in your area from a trusted source, raw milk makes incredible cheese because the natural enzymes and good bacteria are still intact. Vat pasteurized milk. This is milk that has been heated slowly at a lower temperature. It preserves the integrity of the proteins and is the best choice for home cheese making. Low temp pasteurized, similar to vat pasteurized, this is the sweet spot for a successful set. The science of the set: acid and rennet cream cheese is what we call a lactic set or acid set cheese, often supplemented with a tiny bit of rennet. This is different from a rennet set cheese like cheddar or mozzarella. In a rennet set cheese, the enzyme does all the heavy lifting to turn milk into a rubbery curd in about 45 minutes. In a lactic set cheese like cream cheese, we rely on time. We introduce a mesophilic starter culture, bacteria that thrive at middle temperatures around 70 to 90 degrees. These bacteria consume the lactose, milk sugar, and convert it into lactic acid. As the milk becomes more acidic, the proteins, casein, start to clump together. Because we want a very soft, spreadable curd, we only add a tiny drop of rennet. This helps stabilize the curd so it doesn't completely fall apart when we pour it into the draining cloth. The result is a curd that is delicate, moist, and smooth. The essential toolkit. You don't need a specialized dairy lab to make great cream cheese, but you do need tools that prioritize hygiene and temperature control. A heavy-bottom stainless steel pot. Avoid aluminum or cast iron, as the acid in the cheese can react with the metal and give your cheese a metallic off flavor. A heavy bottom ensures the milk doesn't scorch while you're warming it. A digital thermometer. Precision is everything. You need to know exactly when your milk hits 86 degrees, a few degrees too hot and you kill your starter, a few degrees too cold and the bacteria stay dormant. Butter muslin. This is different from the cheesecloth you find at the grocery store. Grocery store. Cheesecloth is too loose. The fine cream cheese curds will wash right through it. Butter muslin has a very tight weave that catches the solids while letting the liquid whey escape. A stainless steel skimmer or slotted spoon for gently stirring in your cultures and ladling the curd. A large mixing bowl to catch the whey. Don't throw that whey away. It's liquid gold for baking or feeding to pets. Step by step, the small batch process. Let's get into the nitty-gritty. This recipe is designed for 1 gallon of milk, which is the perfect size for a home kitchen. It's enough to yield about 1.5 to 2 pounds of cheese, enough for a big brunch and a few gifts for the neighbors. 1. Preparation and sanitation. Before you begin, sanitize everything. Boil your spoons, your thermometer, and your pot. In cheese making, we are inviting specific bacteria to dinner. If the wrong bacteria get there first, your cheese will smell like an old gym sock instead of fresh dairy. 2, warming the milk. Pour your gallon of milk into the pot. If you are using cow milk and want a truly cream cheese, you can replace 1 quart of the milk with 1 quart of heavy cream. Slowly heat the milk to 86 degrees Fahrenheit. Do this over low heat. If you rush it, you might scorch the bottom. Stir gently and frequently to ensure the temperature is even throughout the pot. 3, inoculating the batch. Once you hit 86 degrees Fahrenheit, remove the pot from the heat. Sprinkle your mesophilic starter culture over the surface of the milk. Let it sit undisturbed for 2 minutes. This allows the powder to rehydrate so it doesn't clump when you stir. After 2 minutes, use your slotted spoon to stir the culture and use an up and down motion rather than a circular one. This helps distribute the bacteria throughout the entire depth of the milk. 4, the rennet addition. Now for the insurance policy. Take 1 drop, yes, just 1, of liquid rennet and dilute it. Now One of the nuts in 2 tablespoons of cool, non-chlorinated water. Stir this into the milk for about 30 seconds. Crucial step. Use your spoon to stop the motion of the milk. It must be perfectly still as it begins to set. Cover the pot with a lid. 5. The long fermentation. Now comes the hottest part, doing nothing. Place the pot in a draft-free spot at room temperature, ideally 70 degrees to 74 degrees. Leave it for 12 to 15 hours. During this time, the bacteria are working. They are lowering the pH and building the flavor. If you peek in after 12 hours, you should see a solid mass that has pulled away slightly from the sides of the pot. It should look like a giant shimmering tub of panna cotta. 6. Checking the clean break. To see if it's ready, insert a clean finger or a knife into the curd at an angle and lift up. If the curd splits cleanly around your finger and the gap fills with clear, yellowish whey, you have a clean break. If it's still soft and mushy like yogurt, give it another 2 hours. 7. Cutting the curd using a long knife. Cut the curd into 1-inch squares. You aren't trying to make perfect cubes. You're just creating channels for the whey to escape. Let the cut curds rest for 5 minutes. They will begin to shrink slightly as the whey is expelled. 8. Draining the whey. Dampen your butter muslin. This prevents the cheese from sticking to the cloth, and line a large colander with it. Carefully ladle the curds into the cloth. Tie the 4 corners of the cloth together and hang the bag over a bowl or sink. You can hang it from a kitchen cabinet handle or a wooden spoon balanced over a tall pot. For soft, spreadable cheese, drain for 6 to 8 hours. For firm, block-style cheese, drain for 12 to 24 hours. 9. Salting and polishing. Once the cheese has reached the thickness you like, scrape it out of the cloth and into a bowl. Add 1 to 1.5 teaspoons of high-quality sea salt or cheese salt. The secret technique, use a sturdy spoon or an electric hand mixer to whip the cheese for a minute or 2. This breaks up any tiny lumps and gives you that professional glossy finish. Customizing your batch, the artisanal touch. Plain cream cheese is a canvas. Once you have your base, you can take it in 1,000 different directions. Here are some small batch inspirations. The garden blend. Finely minced fresh chives, parsley, and a tiny bit of dill. Fold these into your cheese along with a pinch of garlic powder. Let it sit in the fridge for 4 hours before serving to allow the flavors to marry. The sweet goat. If you're using goat milk, try folding in a tablespoon of local honey and some crushed toasted walnuts. The earthy goat milk and the floral honey are a match made in heaven. The smoked salmon schmear. Fold in finely chopped lox, a squeeze of lemon juice, and plenty of cracked black pepper. This is the ultimate brunch companion, the everything fold. Don't just put everything bagel seasoning on top. Fold it throughout the cheese. The dried onion and garlic bits will rehydrate slightly in the moisture of the cheese, becoming tender and savory. Troubleshooting common challenges. Even experienced cheesemakers have the occasional off batch. Don't get discouraged. Here's how to diagnose what went wrong. Problem: the curd is grainy or sandy. The cause: usually this means the milk was heated too fast or the curd was drained in a place that was too warm. High heat causes the proteins to tighten up too much, squeezing out all the moisture and leaving behind hard little nuggets of protein. The fix: next time, ensure your room temperature is consistent and your heating process is slow. Problem: the cheese is too sour. The cause: the bacteria were too active. This happens if you let the cheese ferment for too long, 18 plus hours, or if your kitchen was very warm. The fix: reduce the fermentation time by 2 hours in your next batch, or move the pot to cooler hot. Problem: the cheese smells like yeast or bread. The cause: cross-contamination. If you were baking bread or working with sourdough nearby, wild yeast might have hitched a ride into your milk. The fix: always keep your cheese making area separate from your bread baking area and keep the pot tightly covered. Problem: the cheese is too runny. The cause: either your milk was ultra pasteurized, your rennet was old, or you didn't drain it long enough. The fix: check your milk label and your rennet's expiration date. If the cheese is just a little soft, you can always put it back in the muslin and hang it for a few more hours. The sustainability factor, using the whey. One of the biggest surprises for new cheesemakers is how much waste there is. When you make a gallon of milk into cheese, you end up with about 3 or 4 of a gallon of yellowish liquid called whey. Do not pour this down the drain. Whey is packed with protein, minerals, and vitamins. In small batch production, we want to be as zero waste as possible. Here is what you can do with your leftover whey. Baking. Use it instead of water or milk in bread, pizza dough, or pancakes. It adds a wonderful sourdough-like tang. Smoothies. It's a natural protein boost. Garden. Acid-loving plants like blueberries and tomatoes love a diluted whey treat. Fermentation. Use a splash of whey as a starter for fermented vegetables like sauerkraut or ginger carrots. Storage and shelf life. Because your homemade cream cheese doesn't contain antimicrobial gums or chemical preservatives, its life is shorter than the store-bought stuff. Refrigerator. Store in an airtight glass jar. It will stay perfectly fresh for 7 to 10 days. Freezer. You can freeze it, but be warned, the texture will change. It will become crumbly once thawed. This is fine if you're going to use it for cooking, like in a pasta sauce or a baked cheesecake, but it won't be as nice for spreading on toast. The economic reality. Is it cheaper? In the interest of honesty, making your own small batch cream cheese is rarely cheaper than buying a generic brand at a big box store. When you factor in the cost of high quality vat pasteurized milk cultures and your time, you are paying a premium. However, if you compare the cost of your homemade batch to the price of true artisanal cream cheese found at a farmer's market or a high-end creamery where a small 6-ounce tub can cost $8 to $12, you are actually saving a significant amount of money. But more importantly, you are investing in your own skill set. You are learning a craft that has been passed down for thousands of years. There is an emotional profit in serving a meal where you can say, I made this from scratch. The final spread. Mastering small batch cream cheese production is a journey of the senses. It starts with the smell of warming milk, moves through the visual magic of the clean break, and ends with the tactile satisfaction of whipping a smooth, glossy spread. Whether you choose the rich, classic path of cow milk or the adventurous, tangy trail of goat milk, you are participating in a tradition of quality and care. The next time you wake up on a Saturday morning, skip the grocery store, turn on the stove, grab your thermometer, and start your own batch. Your bagels will thank you.